covered the S3 storage yesterday by any chance?
No, I did not.
Okay, awesome. I missed yesterday's class due to a work project, so I just wanted to make sure. That's one thing I want to.
Not a problem. I already have the video. I already have the video. I put it yesterday for the S3 storage. Okay. Yeah, but we'll cover it today. So we're gonna be covering a couple of things. Okay. I think we can start. Right, so Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Hope you guys had a wonderful day today. So before we start, I think we have quite a good attendance here today. About our office hours, if you guys are okay, and I'm gonna send an invite for tomorrow. Saturday is kind of a stretch for me, and Sunday as well. So can we do tomorrow, maybe 7 to 8 p.m. Chicago time? If you guys are okay with that, I'll send the meeting invite. It will not be on Zoom. It will be on Google Meet. So I'll send the invite to you guys, and we can connect tomorrow.
I'm good, Faisal.
Okay, perfect. All right. Okay. So today we're going to be covering AWS database services. Along with that, we had a leftover item from yesterday, which was S3 storage. Plus, we're going to be doing our one more item, which I was planning to do it next week, but one of our brother asked to get it done. So that is about the setting the budget and then setting the alerting for that. So couple of labs we're going to be doing. We're going to be performing the budgeting lab, and then the S3 lab, and then the AWS RDBMS lab. So these three things we're going to be doing. Plus we have at 7 p.m. We have a guest speaker coming in. It's going to be 15-20 minute session. He's going to present something, and then we'll open the floor for the question and answer. And then once that completes, then we're going to continue on our efforts here. So let's dig right in. Let me just log into the console here. Okay. So I am in my console, and we're going to be doing our AWS budget first. It's going to be a quick and short one. Either you guys can follow me, or or you can watch afterwards. The video is being recorded. All right. So right now, logged in as my root account. Basic housekeeping root account, and my default region is North Virginia at this time. Okay, so in our services section, I'm gonna just search for budget. Either I can go through AWS Budget, or I can go through AWS Billing, or another option is drop down on my username and then go into my billing dashboard. So if I click on my billing dashboard, you guys must be seeing $0 in your accounts. Mine is showing, a couple of cents here because of the couple of services which I was working on to, get some video on for you guys. All right. So
sorry for interruption, but since I've been using this, it's been charging me 2 cents every time I use it. So maybe sometime we can figure out why is it doing that, because I'm just following your instructions.
Okay, 2 cents. Okay, so look into that service, which service you are being charged for, for that amount.
Okay,
and then
we'll find out maybe after the class or in the
yes, yeah. So you can look into that. What is the charge on that? And if I scroll down here, so it is telling me that this will be my July month bill. And if I keep on going,
sorry to interrupt, Faisal bhai, can you just zoom in a little bit the text?
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure. Is it better now?
Yes. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Alrighty. So couple of things here. One thing is it is showing me month to date my service bill, that where do I incur all these charges based on that service. Specific service is gonna be it is telling me about. Secondly, if I scroll down, it is giving me my current bill, which I'm gonna incur by the end of this month. And next to it is the forecast. If I am going with the same trajectory, same pace, it is forecasting me that it probably be under $1, like 39 cents. And if I scroll down here, it is telling me about my top free tier services. Let me just do one thing here. All right, so these are the ones. All right, so these are my services which I am very actively using. This is the limit per service, and this is the current usage of my of all these services, which I am currently working on. Okay, so if you see that my S3 service, I have used about 48% of this month. And then, EC2 service, 3%, 3% for Windows, and, about the same over 3.5% on my Linux instances. You are seeing here, maximum allowed for a month is 750 hours. I have used 27.5 hours for Linux, about 25 hours on Windows. Okay. And then about the 30 gig EBS storage that it provides me. So out of those 38 gig, I have used about 2.6%, or almost a gig here. Okay. And then alerts and notification, it has some more information about it, that what is my eligibility, IAM account, and budgeting, and a couple other things it tells me about. Okay, so if I scroll up here, and if I'm gonna go into my budget, click on budgets here, you will see that I already have a budget set. Let me delete this so that everybody is on the same page with me.
Faisal bhai, real quick.
Yes.
I'm trying to log into my machine.
Yeah.
Can you just start back? How do you get into the Cost Explorer from your name? Thank you.
Okay. All right. So soon as you log in, you will be in this AWS Management Console. Okay. I am starting from the scratch here. Okay. And whatever the budget I had, I actually deleted that. So it's all clean right now. Okay. So soon as you log into the console, you will be in the AWS Management Console here. Either you search for a service billing, or scroll down here and look for that service, or the easiest way is drop down on your username here and go into the My Billing dashboard. Okay. So if you click on this My Billing dashboard, and those who are logged in as your IAM user, they might not get that capability. So log in as a root user, please. Okay. So here, I'm going to click on My Billing dashboard. All right. So I am in my billing dashboard here, and it is showing me what are the charges I have incurred so far, and other details, other information here. Here we're gonna go on the left hand side. You see the budgets here, so I'm gonna click on budgets. All right, so I clicked on budgets here. Right now it's a clean slate. You guys, if you do not have any budget set up, it will be the same screen that you guys will be seeing. You can create or manage the budget, refine your budget, usage, or create a notification for that. So on the top here, click on create a budget. All right, so now we have multiple options here. I can create a budget based on a cost, or I can create a budget based on my usage, or any reservation. If you guys remember, reserve instance, that let's say now I reserve it for, let's say 3 years or 5 years or 2 years or 1 year or whatever. So I can, set the, reservation budget, or they started offering this, savings plan budget as well. That, it's an extensive savings plan that, you set it up. And I'm not gonna go into details of those three. I would like you guys to explore, these options as well. So the cost budget, it is very common. Pretty much everybody does it. Whoever has access to it, either you have a free account or a paid account. Okay. So on the cost budget, it's already highlighted. Click next, which is set your budget. Now here we have to fill a couple of things here. First, give it some name. Okay. So give it some name. So I'm going to just name it as let's say my cloud usage. I just named it this, or however you wanted to, name that. Okay. Or let's say, so cloud usage. Okay. All right. So for the period, it gives you three options: monthly, quarterly, annually. Okay. Minimum is the monthly, right? So you click on that monthly here. Now you have effective dates. It is giving you two options: recurring budget or expiring budget. Recurring budget is every month is gonna, keep checking on that budget for you, and then, you'll get, alert or notification on that. Or expiration, let's say you want to use this account for, let's say, next 6 months, and then afterwards you're gonna just, delete that account or move on to a different account, for example. So you can set the expiration, so let's say, from July through December or July through January, I have this account. So I will have, let's say you're working for an organization, they gave you that account for some, dev work or development work or something. And they gave you this account. Hey, you know what, this is your budget, stay within the budget. And we're going to yank it back from you, let's say, after 3 months, 4 months, or 6 months. So you set it up, accordingly for you, set the expiration so that, you would know, hey, you know what, I am, staying under the radar, or, it has gone, the threshold has, reached above that. So it will, keep, informing you on that. Recurring budget. So start month, whatever the month you want to start with. So since we are in the month of July, so let's just pick July here. Or you can, start off, for the future date as well. Let's say you are embarking on a project, but, the project work is not starting up until, let's say, October. So you can set the budget to start from October. Okay. Previous months, you will not get it, that's for sure, because you have not used it. So, it's pointless, to even offer you that service. All right. So budget amount, two options. Again, they give you two options. Right now, I am not clicking on anything extra. It's just all whatever the default it is showing me, but I am just giving you guys an information on that as well. So fixed is, let's say I wanted to have a fixed budget, let's say $5 or $1 or a 25 cents or $500 or whatever, I set the threshold for my budget. So this will be for that specific month, or, it will keep on going or recurring up until I, stop it. Monthly budget planning is, if I click on it here, let's say you're working for an organization.
Can I interrupt?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay. So when you do a fixed budget, and is that fixed for just the month of July, or is it starting July? And if I do say $5,
Yes,
and I've got, I used $1 only in July, will that move the $4 to August and then use whatever and then keep passing it on till I finish my $5, or?
Okay. So this budget is not that you're setting aside some amount of money. It's budget, the budget here in this console, in this area. Budget means that you are setting a ceiling value, that you're setting this value or threshold value for yourself. Hey, you know what? I have to stay, let's say your organization told you, hey, you know what? You have to stay within $20. So you set it up there, and then you set up the threshold value. Hey, you know what? Soon as I hit, let's say 80% or 75% or 90% of it, alert me.
Okay.
So, yeah. So it's not that you are setting aside or sending some amount of money to Amazon that, hey, you know what, $5 and, just, keep me within that.
Okay,
even,
so
right.
it's $5 per month, and so I'm just setting up that $5 recurring budget.
Yes.
Okay, I got you.
Yes. So the difference between the fixed and the monthly budget planning is, let's say you're working for an organization, and then they said that, hey, you know what, we feel that, you know, come Thanksgiving time or come Christmas time, our usage might increase. So, you know, we're gonna give you, let's say, $100 up until September, you know, from July through September, $100. And then, you know, in the month of October, we're gonna give you $1,000. And then month of November, we're gonna bring it down again to $100. And then December, we're gonna give you, let's say, $2,000. So, you know, you can, you know, set all those, you know, ridges here, you know, per month. So with the fixed one, if I go with the fixed one, so let's say if I set the ceiling for, let's say, $100, so it will be $100 across board until I cancel it. But this monthly one, you can plan it accordingly. And this monthly actually gives you for a 12-month period, starting now up until the next, you know, until the 12th month. Okay. So on the fixed one, I'm gonna just, previously, I think they used to provide you the capability of $5 was the minimum, but now you can even go up to a penny. So if you guys remember, my usage was about what, 21 cents. See that here at the bottom. So if soon as I set the number here, it will set a threshold bar for me or some dotted bar there. So let's say if I set it for, let's say, $10. So as I said, the $10, you see that here in this area, this has actually, you know, it has put this, you know, a dotted bar here. So that means right now my usage is 21 cents, and I still have, you know, this much amount of money left to play around with. Let's say if I start incurring some charges. Let's say if I set it up for, a penny. So see, the bar actually came down here below my current usage. So my current usage is above the threshold value. Okay. So right now mine is 21 cents. So put the number that you are able to justify, those who are married. Put the number here, or set the budget number here that you are able to justify to your spouse, and or or put the number which you are comfortably, you know, pay to Amazon. Okay, so let's say I am comfortable with $5, so I'm gonna just put $5 here. So this is my $5 budget. Okay, I don't want to pay anything. I'm just comfortable with $1. So I just put it $1 here. Okay. So whatever the number you are comfortable with, you know, put the number there. And please do not come to Kumail Bhai or myself. Okay. Hey, you know what? I incurred this much charges. Now, you know, I have, you know, quite a large justification, and, you know, the couch is being cleaned for me to, you know, spend my, you know, the rest of my nights here. So anyways, so whatever the number whatever the number you are comfortable with, you know, just put the number there. Okay. Now comes to the filtering part here. You can filter it according to the service. Let's say your organization tells you, hey, you know what, you are going to work only on, let's say, on the EC2 area and on the storage area, but not on the database side. So then, you know, you set it up accordingly. Hey, you know what, I'm gonna just control myself. I'm not gonna go into anything else. I'm gonna just, you know, work on those, you know, those 2 or 3 services that they, you know, gave me. So you can filter accordingly. Right now, all the services are included, but if you want to narrow it down, you can narrow it down yourself, or a specific region you want to narrow it down to, or, you know, whatever and whatnot. Okay, so you can, you know, set the filter accordingly. There are more filters available here. So however, you know, you want to, you know, do that. Okay, so right now I set my fixed budget starting, this is recurring, and there is no expiration date on it. So every month I am planning myself to stay under a dollar limit. Okay. I can go spend crazy amount, outside, but if anything shows up as an AWS budget, there's quite a lot of, justification I need to provide. Anyways, so scroll down here, advanced options. Don't need to worry about them. Like if you want to, include any cost that is related to the refunds or the credits, at times Amazon offers some credit. So let's say, hey, you know what, attend this seminar or attend this service, or there are some other, vendors as well. They offer, hey, you know what, attend this and we're going to give you a $25 credit. So you can, put those credit values inside your current AWS account, and you will get, so it's like, they give you a gift card that you, put in there. And let's say, that's a $25 for EC2 services. So now you have the budget. Hey, you know what? I can play with EC2 up until, $25. So you can, enable it here. Refunds, the same thing. Let's say, Amazon gave you a refund. Let's say, you were working on something. Remember, we talked about it yesterday in the SLA and all that. So let's say, they breach on some SLA and then they give you some refund. So, you apply to your account, and then, you can, track those, that area as well. Plus, there are a couple other services. So we are going just basic here, $1 or whatever the number, you have in your mind. So this
again.
Yes, sure.
I'm sorry. So
No,
I don't have the filtering bit. I don't see that in my options.
Okay, so you must be seeing filtering like this. So click on it.
No,
like,
there is no option for filtering.
Okay, are you in the create a budget? Are you in the same window here?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And I am not able to see the same thing. Yeah, the filter option and the graph also. I cannot see the graph.
Yeah,
I think that. Yeah, I think for us under the budget parameters, there's just blank. There is no arrow to click on and filter.
Okay. All right. So filtering is by default there. So let's just continue on it, and then I'll ask you guys to share the screen with me, and we'll look into that. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Thanks.
Okay. All right. One more thing here is, okay, let me just finish that first. Okay. So advanced option, you can, select or deselect whatever you like. Okay. So I'm going to click next, which is configure alerts. Click next here. All right. So it is telling me this is my alert one. This is on the, okay. So my budgeted amount is $1. Okay. I set the budget, or I set the ceiling for $1. Okay. Now actual cost and forecasted cost. Okay. Always go with the actual cost. Forecasted, you don't need to worry about it. It's like, that, remember the first screen I showed you guys that, it was showing me two bars in my graph. One was my actual one, the blue color, and the green one was the forecasted one. So do not go with the forecasted one. Forecast is that if you go with a similar trajectory of the usage, you are forecasted by the end of the month that you will be incurring this much amount of money. Okay, go with the actual cost for now, unless you are working on cloud economics or cloud finances or financials or some licensing or whatever, in that area. Then you might want to, create a forecasted graph as well, or budget as well for, for the organization. Actual cost. Now this is an important one here, alert threshold. Okay, I have set $1. Okay. And this alerting threshold, it is, I am actually instructing it. So, hey, you know what, soon as I hit the 80% of that $1 or 90% or 75% or maybe 20% or whatever the percent I hit, send me an alert, email me. Okay. So you set the threshold, you don't want to set the threshold for 100% because you want it to be notified well in advance. let's say I set it up for, let's say 70%. And as soon as I hit 74%, so I'm going to just go in there and check, hey, you know what, which service I am incurring this much charges. And then I'm going to, if let's say, I forgot to, bring down some service, or, some instance, kept on running or whatever and whatnot. So I'm going to just, shut them down before I hit that, hit that limit. Okay. So alert threshold, it's up to you, 75% or 80%. Let's say I hit 80% here. So look into the 80% of budgeted amount. So notify the following contact when actual cost is greater than 80%, which is 80 cents, because I set up for $1. Okay. So soon as I hit 80 cents, I'm going to get an email, and I'm going to provide my email address here. Okay. Now there's another option here, 80% of the budget amount, and the next one is the absolute value. Let's say my organization gave me a budget of $20,000. Okay. But my boss told me, hey, you know what, soon as you hit $15,000, let me know. Okay. So I can go with the absolute value instead of the threshold value, or instead of the percentage of it. So let's say I set it up for, in this case, let's say I set it up for, let's say 0.75, which is the 75%. Oh, sorry. Is it going to go with the 0.75? Okay. So as soon as I hit the 75 cents out of those $1, I'm going to get, an email. So if you don't want to go into that calculation, or let's say you have, some solid or straightforward numbers, then, go with those numbers. Otherwise, I would suggest just go with, let's say, the 75% of budgeted amount. Okay. This is my email address. Email address is added, because as soon as you click add email address, it's going to ask you for another email. So it's already there. Okay. Don't worry about the SNS part. That's what we're going to cover in our last session. This is the notification service that it will notify you. So we have to create an SNS topic and all that. But right now with this whole configuration, I will receive an email. Okay. Like as soon as I hit the threshold value, as long as I am under the ceiling, under that, radar, it's not going to send me any alert. Soon as I was about to hit that, which is 75% of it. So soon as I hit the 75%, I'm going to get an email. Which email address? This email address, which I put in for myself. Okay. All right. So I'm going to click confirm budget here, which is the last step. This is about the verification of all these, and then click create. Soon as I click create, I have that, budget set. Now I can create more budgets. That's where I wanted to come to you guys and to tell you guys, hey, you know what? I can create as many budgets as I want. Let's say I want to set the budget for one specific service, set the budget for one specific amount, or not the percentage, but actual budget value or actual number and all that. So, or the forecasted one. So, we can, create as many as you want. Okay. And then, so this completes this activity. Any questions so far?
Faisal bhai, a couple of questions that came on the chat.
Okay.
Can you explain what was the cost for your account? That you've been incurring some EC2 cost, even though why you were using free tier account, why were you being charged?
I can show you guys. So if I go into the cost explorer here, not the actually on the home page here. All right. So in the EC2, I am incurring 8 cents. Okay. Why is that so? Because let me see if I could go into the detail here. See if it's gonna. And it was. So why I was charged for that was because when I was creating an instance, so for EC2 instance, Amazon actually gives me 30 gig size disk or 30 gig for the EBS volumes when I go with the EC2 instance. Okay. If I go above 30 gig on the EC2 instance, then Amazon comes and charges me. Okay. So when you create an instance, the Linux instance, the base OS disk size is 8 gig. So I still have room available to play around with. But for the Windows side, let's say I am building an instance and I want to attach, let's say, 2 more additional disks by the time I am building the instance. So the Linux instance, it gives me a capability. Hey, you know what? I can play with it, right? But on the Windows side, what happens is the Windows instance OS image is 30 gig in size. So if I, let's say, attach one additional disk there of 1 gig or whatever the size it is, I'm gonna get charged for it. So these 8 cents that you are seeing, I believe 2 cents are the ones for that 1 gig additional, or I think it was 2 gig additional disk, which I created along with when I was creating the instance. And I can show you guys here what I am talking about. If I go in here, so our yesterday's exercise, it did not incur any charges. Okay. Let me just go in there into the instance, and I'm gonna launch an instance here real quick. Okay, so I am going to pick my pick a Windows instance here real quick. If I select here, all right, so T2 micro, click next, this file storage. So here in the storage, read this area. Free tier eligible customers can go up to 30 gig of EBS. Okay, this is 30 gig of EBS. This is for EC2 instances. Like when you are building the EC2 instance and then you're picking that. So the Windows root disk or the C drive is by default 30 gig in size. I cannot change it. I mean, I can change it, but it's not gonna let me change it. Let's say if I wanted to do it for 20 gig, it will give me an error once I proceed. Okay. So what happened is this was 30 gig and I wanted to do another use case for you guys. So let's say, I wanted to add additional EBS volume here. This is already 30 gig. So remember, free tier, I can go up to 30 gig. So let's say if I add 1 gig here, I'm going to be charged for this 1 gig if I am attaching while I am creating an instance. Okay. In our yesterday's exercise, what we did is our instance was created already, C drive 30 gig, and for Linux OS drive was 8 gig. So I went in there into the volumes, remember, and then we created those volumes here. So those volumes which we created additional, I was not, incurred charges for those. Okay. And I can go back in here and I can show you guys. So there was that cost categories or somewhere?
If I can, if you go to bills, it's more detailed.
Yes, that's what I was looking for. Thank you. Was that Sahir? Okay. Thank you much.
Yeah.
Yes. So you see that here, EC2 compute, and I was charged on North Virginia. So I was charged for those. You see the EBS volumes, and I was charged for Core HDD, which I did for for the Windows. So that's where you get the details here, and then the remaining 12 cents I am being charged was under the KMS because I created 2 keys inside the KMS or key management systems. That's what I was charged for. Okay, so you can get under the bills, you can get a detail here that where all these charges are being incurred from. Okay. Any other question? All right. Okay. So let's go into so we still have 15 minutes before our other session starts. Not the other session, before our guest speaker comes in. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into the S3, and we're gonna do the S3 exercise or the lab work what we had to skip yesterday. And then after our the session with our speaker, then I'm gonna go into the today's slide, which is about the database services. And also we have a database services lab as well. Okay, so I am logged into my console. I am in my management console here. If I scroll down here under the all services, you see that storage service, which is S3. So I'm going to click on it. Okay, right now you see that I do not have, let me go back again. I'll show you guys one thing here. In my management console, you see that my root account and my default region, which is North Virginia. S3 storage service is global. Okay, so soon as I go in there, plus all our security services are global as well. Remember, when I went into my billing dashboard, it changed to global here. See that it is changed to global. So billing is global across board, no matter which region, which zone I am working on. This actually pulls everything from that globally. All right, so S3 storage is also global, although the storage bucket is created in a specific AZ, but the storage naming and then accessibility and all that, it's all global here. Okay, so right now you see that I am in my North Virginia. Scroll down here under the storage, I'm going to click on S3 here. All right, so under the S3, all right, so you see that it changed automatically to global. Okay, right now they are actually updating their S3 console, so this message is all about that. All right, so bucket name has to be unique globally. Let's say I pick a bucket name Faisal.Abbas. When you try to use pick that name, it will not let you do that. So your bucket name has to be unique. So think through what bucket name you're picking. Let's say you're creating a bucket for your finance, or you're creating a bucket for your, let's say, some development or whatever task, or whatever the group you are working with. So, name the bucket accordingly. Okay. All right. So let's say I pick Faisal.Abbas. It picks. So otherwise it tells me that how many matches. So, so this is the bucket name. Or what, before we create the bucket, let me just do one thing here. Okay, S3 buckets, they have the capability to go public or stay within the, within a confined area, or like not going public. So what does public mean? Public means that you have, you have granted the access to the bucket that anybody in the world can access it. Let's say I create a bucket with a public access. So whoever has that URL or the bucket address can access it from anywhere in the world. Normally, if you have, some critical data, some compliance data, or some specific data is sitting there, try not to public that. Keep it within that, within the specificity, or within that, specific group. Okay. Because you might have, some credit card information there, or you might have some personal information there, or some critical information, which, let's say if it goes public, everybody will be able to, access that. And that's what normally hackers are, after. They sniff for, buckets that are open, and then, there were, a couple of, incidents in the past. You must have heard that, there was an organization, they were putting their financial data was sitting there in the bucket. It was not encrypted. It was enabled public, and, hackers got the access to it. So, keep this in your mind. So this is bucket operation. And then actually recently, Amazon introduced this block public access. Previously it used to be, inside it, but now it's just, because of, all these breaches happening and people are complaining. So they, started off, providing this capability right on the first screen here. So if I just click on it here, block public access, right now what you're seeing is account settings, block public access. It is blocking everything. Block all public access, 4 different types, all access on buckets, on the bucket, and also the objects sitting inside the bucket, either through the new ACL or access control list, or any access control list, or any public bucket, or any bucket that has access to the outside world. Okay, so
I can ask you a question. What is the
Sure.
purpose of a bucket? What does a bucket do? I'm still confused on that question.
Yeah, good question. So bucket is a storage area where you store your objects, like your different files. Let's say you put in your text files, your Excel sheets, your codes, or your backup files, or your HTML files, or whatever and whatnot. So bucket is like, a regular bucket that you have. So, you have that bucket, and then, you start, throwing the data into it, or stuff into it. Similar principle that, bucket is there. Now, however you want to use that. So you want to store, your critical or important data, or some, junk data, or something like, some, your data backup, or or maybe your database backup, so you can, put in there.
So like instead of file server, I could put everything what is required in a file server into a bucket.
So file servers, they are normally, consider they actually being categorized as a block device, not an object device. So here, S3 bucket is not a block device. So it is based on that principle. So although you can use, or you can attach that S3 bucket to your Linux or Windows OS, but normally it is not recommended. So it is like, you have, it's like a repository, or how do I put it as, let's say a SharePoint repository. So
Okay.
where, you're putting your, let's say your team's presentations, or, some or other crap data there. Yeah.
Okay. So it's just like a data storage. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So although it's not recommended, so I'll just, unblock it, all the public access, just to show you guys, how the public access works here. Okay. It is asking me, excuse me, it is asking me a confirmation. Okay. So I'm going to confirm it. Now all the public access is blocked. Okay. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go into my buckets. So whatever the bucket I'm going to create, let's say I create like 5 different buckets, they will all have the public access enabled. So normally the recommended method is keep that blocking, and then, enable, if you wanted to enable something to have the public access, let's say out of those 5 buckets, I wanted to enable, 1 bucket, or a folder inside a bucket, or maybe a file inside that bucket to have the public access. So I just, go in there and, exclusively enable that. Otherwise, the rest will not have that access. Let's say you're working with your auditor, and they wanted to have, that specific report, but report is so big, and, you cannot attach to your email, or you cannot just simply zip it and send it to them. So you grant a public access to that specific content to that specific, person or auditor, and they will, pull that report, from there. Okay, so I am going to click on create bucket here. I'm creating a bucket. So bucket name must be unique and not contain any spaces or uppercase letters. Okay, these are the bucket rulings. All right, so let's just name it as my name. Remember, buckets are global, but they are created somewhere, right? So where is it being created right now? It is being created in my, East 1 region, or I can, change it to wherever I want it to. Okay.
Why would you want to change it, Faisal bhai?
Okay. So let's say my head office is in Chicago, but my rest of my business, let's say my developers, they are sitting in Singapore, and my main business is being conducted in, let's say, in Bahrain. Okay. So my developer and my business people, let's say they are contacting and communicating constantly, through the bucket, like, they have to put in something, and then, the business people, they are accessing it, frequently, from that bucket. Although my corporate, let's say my headquarters is in Chicago. So, or let's say my headquarters is in Virginia. Okay. So there is no point for me to create that bucket in my, in Virginia, because otherwise, people who are trying to access, from across the globe, they will be, incurring lots of, latency there. So better to have the bucket, put closer to them, so that, they will have a faster access, both, both the development team and the business team. Okay. So that's why, you try to, create that bucket close to where the maximum usage, or maximum traffic is going to come from. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. All right. So this is the region, and then, bucket settings. Remember, we block. All right. So when remember, the globally, we remove the public access. But right now, since I am, remember, let's say I create 5 buckets. So every bucket I create is going to ask me, hey, you know what? Do you want to block the access, or you want to, enable the access? Okay. And then, yes.
Sorry to interrupt. It seems like some of the individuals have a different create bucket step screen.
Okay. Yeah, I guess, Kamal bhai, I think because of the
changes that are happening.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's why I guess, the different layout you might see. Hold on. You know what? Let me cancel it here.
Yeah, actually, I also had that, and then it gave me an option to upgrade my
Okay.
view. It said, did you want to new one? And so I'm
Yep.
following.
Do you guys see this screen? This is an older, okay?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So you see that, right now they are, working on that. So they have not rolled it out completely. That's why. So, I switched to the new console, but that's okay. I mean, I switch to the, older console here. Same thing. It's going to do the similar, stuff for us. So I'm going to click on create. Oh, hold on. You know what, guys? Can you guys switch to the new console? At the top, you see the box here. Switch to new console, because I don't want to tell you things on the older console, and then you never know that the very next day they switch or roll out for everybody to the newer console. Then you will be looking for, hey, you know what? In the video, I see the older one. Where is that happening? Okay.
I think most of us are able to just switch. If anybody is still stuck on the old console, just IM, and then we'll help you on this.
If you're stuck on the older console, maybe just watch it, and then after the class, I'll connect with you and see. I mean, if you could, switch it. If you could work with you to switch to the new console. Although it should be here. This is not. This is the option which cannot be closed. So, and this is in the S3 bucket here. So if I click here, switch to the new console. Okay. All right. Are we good to proceed?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to click on create bucket here. I'm going to name it. Okay. Pick the name, US Virginia. And remember, for this bucket, I am just blocking, unblocking the public access. Okay. It is going to ask me, hey, you know what? Yes, I acknowledge. You're right. Okay. Advanced settings, don't worry about it for now. Okay. Let's just leave them as default, and then click on create bucket. Okay, my bucket is created. Okay. here you see that if I highlight that, access is object can be public. Okay, so people can access it from the outside, right? And that's where I am actually, taking you guys toward. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay. Alrighty. So I'm gonna click on my bucket name here. Clicked on the bucket. Now it is giving me all the bucket related options. Okay. First screen, overview screen, I can upload an object, set the object properties, or set the permissions, because it's a blank bucket at this time. So it is giving me all these options. I can upload a file, I can create a folder, or I can do whatever I want here. Okay. Next one is the properties here. Okay. In the properties section, we can set the versioning. So once I set the versioning, if I just click on it, if I just click on enable versioning, so versioning means soon as I put something here, and I'm going to create a lab for you for the, for this versioning part. It's a very interesting one. Soon as I put something, and then I made a change, update that, so it will have a version there, and then it will keep the version saved. So let's say even if I delete the main file, the version will be there, and it will ask me, hey, you know what, do you want it to delete those versions or keep those versions? Let's say you have some a junior person working, you gave him a task, hey, you know what, work on these files and then delete those files, or work on these files and then save them, and he accidentally deleted some file, so you still have a version where you can roll it back from. Okay, so that's what the versioning comes handy for you. Okay. All right, and next one here is access logs, and then this is the area where I want to bring
Right?
Yes.
Is it a charge service, the versioning one?
It is not.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All right. So this is the area where I am actually trying to bring you guys toward, which is static website hosting. Real good thing. You don't even need to build the entire infrastructure. Like you do not even need to build your EC2 instances and then install the web servers and whatever and whatnot. All you have to do is just whatever your website content is, you can just put it into the S3, and then you can access through the S3, your static website will be, or your static host will be ready right there for you. And I can show you that. I actually, let me just where is the spotlight? All right, so I'm going to click on static website hosting. It is giving me 3 options: use it, or redirect it, or disable it. So use it, like you put your content there, you put the content in there, and then you see this URL. With this URL, anybody can access that. Second is the redirect. Let's say I have a site, let's say I have a company.com site, so I can redirect from here to my company's site. Okay, and then the last one is the disable. Right now it is disabled, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this to host a static site. It asks me, hey, you know what, and if you guys remember the website web servers, the first file which they pick has to be indexed, either index.html, index.js, index.php, or whatever, right? So so I'm going to just name it as index.html, although I do not have an error file. So let's just put it there, otherwise it'll complain. So I save the file here. Okay, now my static website is enabled, right? So that area is enabled. I'm going to go back into the overview section here. I had one. Let me just do one thing here. Come on, where is my folder here? Okay, on my downloads folder, I actually created one file. Okay, come on. Our guest speaker is here. Give me, Rizwan bhai, give me like couple more minutes, and I'll pass it on to you. If you just bear with me a couple more minutes, please. Okay, so what I did is I actually created an index.html file. It's just a basic file. Oh, you know what? It has like two content in it. or 2 line of code in it. All right, so I uploaded that file. Next, again, it is asking me, hey, do you want to grant public access or not? Okay, I'm granting the public access. Click next. And these are, remember, we did the storage classes yesterday. So these are all about it. So stay with, for your free tier, stay within the standard, okay? Try not to, go on the other areas, okay? All right, so I'm gonna click next here and then upload. All right, so file is uploaded and I wanna show you that. Highlight that file and go into the actions, and it's showing me everybody will have access to it. I'm gonna just make it public here. All right, so what I'm gonna do here is, you know what? This is giving me the object URL, okay? This is my S3 bucket URL, or I can go into the bucket, come on. I can go into the bucket, click on it, and then come on, where did it go?
It's in the properties static
Okay.
site. No, go into the bucket. You're in the index properties
Okay, I am in the bucket.
or properties.
All right, I got it. Okay.
Static web hosting. On top, static web hosting.
Was that versioning or the access? Oh,
No,
not,
static web hosting. You're looking for the website URL, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's the one.
here's the endpoint address. Okay. So I pick the endpoint address, open a new tab here. I put in, paste in there. If I hit enter, see that this is the, a very basic site, like 2 line of code here. I have the title, and then I have the, the header tag here. So this is, how, you host your website here. And there's one, there are a couple of, free website hosting sites, and there's one good one here, freewebsitetemplates.com. These templates, they are ready to go, free of charge. They don't charge anything. So I downloaded this, sorry about this, frozen yogurt shop for you guys. I downloaded this, and then, it downloaded the zip file, and I actually, move the content, from the zip file to, I move the content out of that zip file. So I'm going to just quickly go in there, and I want to show you guys. If I click upload here, and this FYS has your CSS folder, your fonts folder, images, and then, rest of your HTML files there. Okay. I'm going to just quickly go in there and drag that to the upload. Click next, and then it's asking me, yes, I wanted to make it public. Next, leave it as default, upload that. At the bottom, it's gonna go, and I think I'm gonna have to do it one more time. Okay, our content is uploaded. Let's just validate the FIS. Just making sure it is public. Okay, so our content is all public now. If I go back to our URL, if you remember the URL, since this is a new folder, which the folder name was FIS, so /FYS, hit enter, and here I have the access to the entire template. I can just simply, customize it, and here my business is, up and running, ready for me. And you guys can access that as well. Let me just ping it into the chat.
I already did.
Oh, you did? Thank you. All right. Okay. So I'm gonna stop it here for now, since our guest speaker is here. All right. So let me just quickly thank you, Zanvai, for bearing with me. I know that gave you the time for 7 p.m. All right. So guys, today's speaker, he's a very close friend of mine. He's my mentor, a prominent community member in Canada, serial entrepreneur, average speaker on prominent, forums, startup mentor. He's an ex-Canadian government official as well. Holds a doctorate degree in robotics and AI. And these are some of the his achievements. He's on my speed dial for any tech nugget I need or any advice I need. He's always there to help me out. And along with that, the tech and the business paradigm, there's a whole lot of long list of the areas where he is currently actively engaged in within the community and outside the community as well. And it always amazes me and boggles my mind. Hey, how does he get time for all these activities within that 24-hour window? His current venture is one of the prominent one in tech and the rideshare arena. And I introduce you guys to Dr. Rizwan Akhtar, co-founder and CEO of MyRide. So he's gonna talk about his current venture. So Rizwan bhai, floor is all yours. And you already have the access to share the screen. So yes, please go ahead. You're on mute. We cannot hear you. No, we cannot hear you. I think you are either double muted or. I don't know, for some reason. Is it just me or you guys are not able to hear him?
Nope, we cannot.
We are not able to hear.
I can hear.
No, I cannot hear. I think it's mute from his side.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe his microphone or something.
Maybe you might want to take your, I think.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. All right.
Okay, okay. So I have to come a little closer, eh?
Yes.
And give me a minute. Let me just set up. I thought I'm just going to go and do everything through. Okay. So thank you, Faisal, for the intro. You guys can see my presentation, right? PowerPoint?
Yes. Yes, I can see that.
Okay. So MyRide is the venture that we have set up. Initially, we were going to go through myride.pk, CA, and all that, but I'm going to go very briefly about what do we do, where I come from, and what I have achieved, and then I'll take any questions that you guys may have. So from my education perspective, guys, I hate doing this, but I'm going to go through this upon Faisal's request. So I did my bachelor's in computer science and master's and PhD in artificial intelligence in 2000. So it's a way back. When I was doing it, neural network and fuzzy logic was the two main languages, and still they are, if you really go back into AI module. So my thesis was actually to manipulate humans' thought into a computer language. When I say human thoughts, those who are in vegetable states, they are actually listening, but they're unable to speak or do a body movement. So we implanted neural network filaments in your two backside of your brain. And when we communicate to people in vegetable states, which are otherwise known as a coma, their response will be generated, and we will actually read it and present it on the computer screen within 10 minutes. So every time we think about anything, our brain creates something called narrow anesthesia in medical terminology. And in normal human language, we call it adrenaline. That adrenaline, every aspect or every single cell of human brain has a different temperature, and every temperature has a mapping of various movement of human beings. So that was my thesis. I don't want to bore you guys on it. So I did my doctorate in AI from Arizona State University. Then I did my postgrad leadership development from Cornell. And I did another postgrad from Richard Ivey School here in London, Ontario. And last year we applied for 2 patents. One is for linear and facial recognition based on mobility in ride sharing. That is for the drivers who don't have hands, but they have face. they can actually operate an automobile or a car based on their facial eye movement or based on their facial features. And this is a patented that we have been testing. So that's two of the patents we are working on. Work history, I started out at Motorola early days in 1991, I believe, as a Unix engineer. Unix release 4 version 5 was the very early age of Unix that I started working on it. Before this, actually, the job that I really loved it was a Pizza Hut. I was actually working as a delivery guy for Pizza Hut during my school days before joining Motorola. And I really loved it still even today because you get to meet with people. Anyhow, so during my first year of computer science, Motorola actually hired me from the campus hiring. So I worked at Motorola, then I worked as Allied Signal Aerospace. I started out as a technical support, and then they transferred me because during my computer science days, I started programming in ADA, which is a language for the aviation and aerospace. So I was put on a project for technical support for a Spark 1 satellite. And I still remember the days I was literally jumping up and down when I was selected for this. So I worked at aerospace, Allied Signal Aerospace, then I left and moved to actually Chicago. And this is where I worked for a company called Comdisco and Comark. Ran consulting services for Illinois, Washington, Indiana, and Michigan, and all those states. And after that, I moved on to a Ditto, which is a small.com, and I created a very first visual search engine. And those of you who are a little old enough know that before Google or Yahoo, we used to have Lycos and Dogpile and Mama. Those search engines were actually have no pictures, just normal text. So I was given a task to actually manage and establish and create a visual search engine, which has all the pictures and the movies and the videos and whatnot. And I worked on this one as a director IT, and we actually sold it to Yahoo, or Yahoo actually bought it in the B days. After that, I moved on and came to Canada in 2001. And my first project was for British Telecom. And I moved back to UK. Actually, this is where I have the pleasure to establish dark and lit fiber across UK, Ireland, Germany, and France. So dark fiber, guys, that's the real fiber that you see under the ground. Lit fiber is when you connect to a router, hub, or gateway, or a switch. Then it becomes lit, and you're actually transporting various mediums of audio, video, and various signals. So I think I installed over 369,000 miles of dark and lit fiber in UK and all the neighboring country, Ireland and Germany and France. From there, I came back and I wrote something called in Canada we have, which is Central Superior Service. So I joined that through a competition. And I had the emerging technology and development for Province of Ontario in 27 ministries. And then 4 years later, which I have not mentioned for some reasons, I was transferred into White Collar Crime Unit, which is Anti-Corruption District Central in Ontario. So I was a magistrate. I had my own court and everything. I worked there till 2012. And I quit because I said, I don't want to be a magistrate or a judge or something, because I went to school for computer science, and what am I doing, you know, running after guys who selling drug, hashish, and all those things, and, you know, selling bogus investment properties and whatnot. So I walked away from OPS and I started my own company, and that was MDX Technologies. I established IT consulting services for cybercrime prevention and software development. So I wrote a very first module for MDX Technologies, where we can, based on your spending habits, we can target a person and tell you if he or she is going to bankrupt or file a consumer proposal or become a terrorist or aid a terrorist in any way or shape. And then we can also track you, use your single cell phone, and through your cell phone, we can actually connect you to everyone who you have called or contacted. And I wrote some modules for Keyhole, which is another satellite, private satellite available. So that's under MDX Technologies. And then roughly 2 years ago, we started out a ride sharing company. It's called myride.ca. And I took it to Pakistan and here. So Alhamdulillah, we've been doing pretty good in MyRide. So that's in terms of a very high level work history I have. Let's talk about what is MyRide, my current venture. So MyRide is a ride sharing company in Canada and Pakistan. We are the largest location-based ride sharing service provider in Pakistan. We are also doing health informatics in Canada, where we provide aggregation of big data on cancer research, heart attacks, and diabetes for hospital and university. And this is something that we can talk about, briefly at the tail end of this presentation. We also do, we have tested actually about 5 months ago, aerial transportation of medical supplies. It's a new venture where we use drone, which is autonomous drone. It can fly up to 200 kilometers or it stay in air for up to 4 hours in single journey. And we have transported about 7 kilos of medical supplies about 120 or 125 kilometers away. Where we are today in terms of MyRide, we are located in Mississauga. We have regional offices international in Lahore, Islamabad, Karachi. We're doing in Dubai and Brunei. We have 12 registration offices. We have total 405 technical staff, which is developers, if you take, and project managers, sales staff, administrative staff, and whatnot. We have 53,000 registered cars and 74,000 registered drivers and a single domain drone, which is one drone today. And inshallah, we're going to take it to a next level. So most people are buying drones from eBay and Amazon, which is you cannot fly any more than no higher than 300 feet. And you need to have a drone license by FTA and CA here. But the drone we're talking about, these are the commercial drones. They run on gas and battery powered, and they fly minimum 200 kilometers. So at some point, I'll share some pictures of it in the future, inshallah. Where we want to be in the coming 18 months, we want to have 250 offices in Pakistan, 80 offices in Canada, and 100 in USA. We want to expand MyRide in USA and Canada. Further where we are. We want to have, and inshallah, we will have 550,000 plus drivers in Pakistan, 35,000 in Ontario, and 350,000 in Midwest. We already did a testing of ride sharing in Chicago, and we have over 55 or 5,700 drivers just in Joliet only registered, and we haven't really opened up the Pandora box there. We want to have a medical drones of at least 80 drones. Each drone costs around 15,000 minimum. So you do the math, multiply by 18, and we want to have a total cars of 1.1 million cars, which are registered for MyRide. In terms of the infrastructure, I'm setting up or showing you a very high level one. We have 32 web servers, 4 middleware servers, 6 backend servers. We have ELB, S3, what Faisal was covering, Lambda, and Kinesis. And we have 4 hosting environments. So we are hosting on AWS, we are hosting Alibaba, we are hosting Cybernet in Pakistan, and we are hosting with Host Papa and GoDaddy. And we need to segregate all these things. And if you don't do it, you'll get the result of what happened in the last 24 hours in the US, where Bill Gates and Joe Biden's and everyone's accounts were hacked, and they are actually being asked to pay Bitcoin. So never put all eggs in one bucket. So that's what we've been practicing. In terms of emerging solution that we want to launch in Canada and US, there is a ride sharing solution we want to actually start with using AI, which is artificial intelligence. We will use neural network to actually gather data from taxi dispatches, from weather emergencies, public transports, events which are happening in the neighborhood. And we will aggregate that into a big data. We optimize it, model it, and then we want to actually present it to all taxi cab companies, all drivers, all consumers, not just the ride sharing. And basically it will tell you where you should be within the next 15, 10 minute, 5 minute, or half an hour that you'll get a ride, or you will actually get a longer ride than average person. So in today's market in ride sharing, we're still a fat client where we have to sit and wait and see if the ride will come to me. And you sometimes drive around with this errand that we call ARIS. ARIS will actually tell you where you should be logically within a specific time and date, rather than you sit around and wait for ride to come to you, because that data is available from the internet and we're going to aggregate. That's one. Second one, we've been actually quietly practicing and testing it, is called cancer screening, which we are using on AWS. So left-hand side on the screen on the bottom, what you will see is a picture of a normal disease. We put it in the cloud. We're using Kinesis, and it streams within the Kinesis. And what we are doing is we're using Lambda, we're using Kinesis enabled app and EMR. So emergency and healthcare medical systems, when you combine them together, you will be able to actually see what's going on in real life when you are treating a cancer patient with a chemotherapy. So big data has limitations. In big data, you cannot really perform anything over 3.6 million transactions per minute. And you have to have some sort of a data warehouse connected to big data. When we move into AWS, and I'm using Forest and Lakes and Redshift and all that, I'm actually combining data, which is a big forest I have or big reservoir I have under one location. I am collecting data from all regional hospitals, and I'm actually providing them into your S3 regular, available network, or Redshift, which is a data warehouse within AWS. And what medical community will get from there is that as you give a patient a chemo, patient goes away in today's market. They come back after 3 days, either they're running a fever, or they're throwing up, or they're having a swelling, or they're having various things. What happened is when this product hit the market, as you give a chemotherapy dose to patients, we have a little device which will be connected to your chest or on your right-hand side, and that device will transmit real-life blood sampling or real-life changes in your body to our server, and it will tell me as a medical professional, if I'm the one treating the patient, that this patient is about to have a fever, or this patient's about to have a upset stomach or throw up, or this patient will go into some sort of a septic shock because of the chemotherapy. That's one thing. And second thing this product will actually tell you is, if we have 10 patients with 10 different counties, based on the data we will collect, we will be able to actually tell them what chemo to use based on the food they have been eating within the last 15 years, 10 years, or where they have been living, or what type of life they have been living. Because in today's medical community, you only have 8 or 10 different type of chemo that you have to amalgamate and change and give it to the patients. And usually it's hit and run. That's why when people go on chemotherapy, 60% of the patients take very first chemotherapy in a very positive way, and 40% actually fail. They become extremely ill. With this terminology that we are using called cancer screening for cure, and we haven't even debuted the name of it. Cancer screening for cure actually provide insight into your patient the minute you give them a very first chemo, either orally through tablets, or you give them through IV, or you give them through injection. You go home and our device will start reading your body temperature, your blood analysis and everything, and it'll start uploading everything in the system, and doctor will have a real life, real time information on where the patient is going. So that's very high level where we are emerging solutions coming from MyRide for ride sharing and cancer screening. That was a very high level information that I'd like to share. If you guys have any questions, I'll take it. Otherwise, it's been a great pleasure for me to be a presenter here.
Thank you, Rizwan bhai.
How's
It was very informative. And yeah, I just realized, that you and Kumail bhai are both ex-Motorola employees.
Assalamu alaikum, Rizwan bhai.
Wa alaikum assalam. Good to know, fellow Motorolan.
Yes, Assalamu alaikum, yeah, Kumail. I can't recall. I was in Schaumburg all my life.
I've seen you. I've attended actually the center where you guys are originating from. I've attended early days. I used to come there for Friday prayers and all those days. And I have my brother also, two of my brothers living in Chicago. So I do visit them here and there whenever time permits, actually.
Mashallah, mashallah. Good to see you. Jazakallah. Thank you for spending some time with us.
Thank you.
I think someone else had a question.
Sure.
Assalamu alaikum, Rizwan bhai. This is Muhammad Abbas. I'm from Canada, living in Milton, and I've seen you a lot of time, but I'm not aware of your geniusness. I'm not aware of that, how much you have worked so far in North America. That's impressive. Yeah, I'm got impressed.
I'm humbled, guys. I don't usually market myself for schooling or anything because, I heavily believe what you've earned is just make you a little bit marketable. That's it. It's main thing. What matters is what can you do in return for the greater good, greater people and whatnot. So degree is degree, but I think how you use it is what matters. And one thing I do want to say here, what Faisal and Kumail, you guys have started here, I think this is something community should really appreciate. AWS courses here in Canada it's $2,500 minimum, and we have 10 AWS certified guys in our team, and we are always struggling for good certified quality AWS guys. And if somebody come out from there, I'm sure you guys have collected diamonds and you're just polishing. Everyone is a diamond, in my opinion. We would love to use them in our project in MyRide, or when we come to US, we would love to sit down with you guys. Healthcare, in terms of the healthcare region we're doing, we'd love to do partnering with you or use some of your students. And the drones, I mean, we are the only company in Pakistan where we have created autonomous drones, where we enter the address in our cell phone and drone will fly and automatically land up to 200 kilometers away, pick up or drop supplies and come back to home, which is otherwise only available in military and very high-end commercial. So inshallah, I would love to share more as time comes in the future.
Yeah, Rizwan, this is Ashfaq. I'm very impressed by your achievements.
Thank you.
A couple of questions regarding the ride share in Pakistan. How receptive was the Pakistani government with that technology where you're looking at human features? That's one question. And the other question is when you do the crime prevention, you're looking at human features, and how do you avoid profiling? Because that's become a big issue here, right?
Yeah, so Ashfaq, great question. So let me start from the profiling one because I like this. This is a sticky point that you cannot avoid this. There is no such thing as privacy in North America. And I always give everyone an advice. If you want to be a private person, don't go to dentist, don't have a credit card, don't have a social security, and don't acquire utilities for your home. And you'll never be able to profile, right? So there is no privacy. We profile. We have and so in terms of that, when we were doing crime prevention applications, we were actually tracking your cell phone, and from cell phone we created a program called My Alter Ego. My Alter Ego was a program where every single criminal have a very big ego, like they want to show off that they are the number one chilattar person out there, and we capture them and we catch them based on the mistakes they make online, which is very easy way to track a criminal is from Walmart. Jitne bhi criminal I've ever seen in my life, they always go to Walmart after 10 o'clock. And you basically stand at the door and you scan their faces. And then as you're scanning their faces, you scan their cell phone and everything. And if I can scan your cell phone, you become my slave for life. Believe me, even if you burn your phone, throw it in the garbage, dump it in a volcano, you'll never be able to get rid of the numbering that we take from there. So it's a greater discussion, and I'd love to show you guys how we do it. So there is no privacy there.
I actually had a question. So if somebody goes after 10 o'clock and then they're not a criminal, what happens then?
Then nothing happens. We are just collecting your data. We're waiting for you. We're waiting for you to. So what happened is that usually government, we did lots of government contracting. So if police and all those guys, when they fail, they come to us that, hey, we have a guy we cannot track. Can you track us? So then we come into a picture and we start tracking them. So we go to the known places and we ask them, where was the last time you have actually seen this person? And
so
based on.
Oh, sorry, continue.
Yeah. So once we track when was the last time or where we have seen you, then we can go back and start tracking you backward. Either we just need a copy of your utility bill or the phone bill and whatnot, and then we start tracking. But everyone's data is in government's database. Believe me, guys, don't be fooled and think that, okay, we don't know where we are or what's going on and what's not. Government owe us, and it's up to them that they just choose not to look into us. It's not just the Desi community, it's every single human being out there. If you have ever been to a doctor, if you ever been to a dentist, if you ever been to Walmart or Home Depot and whatnot, or if you ever traveled overseas or locally, guys, when you land at the airport, if you have traveled overseas, when you come out of the aircraft, intentionally your aircraft is actually 6 inches above than the walkway than you go in. And when you are coming out of the walkway, you intentionally always look up for a second. They did it purposely, and I know I did it because I've installed lots of cameras in various airports where they take a picture of your cornea and they make you intentionally walk for at least 7 minutes minimum, because within that 7 minutes, camera is actually running all the algorithm and reading your cornea and preparing the immigration officer ahead of time that the person is coming, either he or she is wanted, or we read your body temperature to see if you have swallowed some drugs or alcohol, paraphernalia in your tummy. So they read your body temperature, we read your cornea, and we read it. So it's 7 minutes. Wherever in the world you go, this is a normal standard. So I did in early 2000, I did a project for London and France and everything when we were doing a lit fiber. I did lots of those for Heathrow, Gatwick, Charles de Gaulle, and all those airports my company did. So I know this is where things are coming, where we are reading you and everything, but I don't mean to scare anyone. One question I forgot to actually answer, what's the reception of ride sharing in Pakistan? It was great, actually. Uber is one of the #1 service provider all over the world. And the Careem is another service provider in Pakistan. When we launched, what makes us different than anyone else is that we offer our drivers life insurance, health insurance, and we take over their kids or their education expenses, regardless of how much, which university you want to go, we'll pay for education out of our own 20%. So we give 80% profit to drivers. We keep 20%. Out of 20%, we give them life insurance, health insurance, and something equivalent to 401k in Pakistan, Brunei, Bangkok, Dubai. So we are testing in Brunei, we are testing in Pakistan. We tested during the last Hajj time in Saudi Arabia also. In Pakistan, I think we're gonna bring more services in terms of bringing more OPDs or walking clinics. Same thing we did in Canada here, and same thing we'll be doing in US. When we launch in US, we'll offer education benefits and healthcare for our drivers and their families, and either single or married, regardless.
Rizwan, just one quick question, somewhat related to the topic as well. You had such a strong technical background with your education work experience, and now you are in more of a business administration and business management. To what extent do you get involved in the technical design of the solutions that your company is implementing?
100%. So this is, because I went to school for this. So it's easy for me to deal with developers and architects and tell them. So the application was 100% architected by myself because I architected a solution because we have some special features in our application which we haven't turned it on. First one is that which we will launch in 4 months in Pakistan and here, that if you are taking a ride, when you accept the ride, our application have a built-in sensor which will take your breath analyzer test while you are accepting a ride. And if you are under the paraphernalia, it's gonna shut the car, which no one has it. Then second one we are launching next year is that if a driver is taking a passenger away and passenger is uneasy, they will press a specific button and will take over the car sitting in Canada. Nobody has it, where we have actually retrofitted cars with our own modules, which was written in BlackBerry system. BlackBerry used to be a phone company from Canada. So we have retrofitted almost every single car that we want to bring under the umbrella of our company. So these are the technical things that if I were to hire a CTO, that CTO will never understand where my vision is. So we have 3 partners. I take the technology under my arms, another partner takes the business, and one more takes the finance. But being the incubator of all this, I hold the CEO portion. I did the liftoff of my ride in Pakistan myself, so I know how the market is going. But it's a tough thing coming out from person who's a computer warrior to become a people warrior. It's a change. Sometimes you make mistakes dealing with people because I could be very good with computer, but I don't know how a person will behave when I'm talking to them. So it's a learning curve for me.
Thank you. Jazakallah.
I had one question.
Sure.
What was your motivation to go into the ride sharing business? Like, you could have done so many other things. So what motivated you to specifically go into ride sharing?
Money. It has more money than you guys can even count. Seriously, transportation have more money, guys. 73% profit in transportation and 88% profit in healthcare. If anyone wants to start a healthcare business, this is the time to start healthcare or transportation, because technically speaking, when you pick up a customer, single customer in ride sharing, for example, that customer is going from McCormick Place in Chicago and coming to, let's say, South Chicago or coming to Bloomingdale. McCormick Place to Bloomingdale is what, around 30 miles or so. It cost Uber $6.20 and they charge $73 for a customer. Seriously, because they get the tax bracket and everything. So what motivates me is money, guys, and I'm gonna be very open with you. Lots of people come say, oh, I'm gonna do charity, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. You'll only do a charity when you have a money to charitize. Otherwise, लफ्जों के मुजाहिद तो बहुत बनते हैं ना कि हमने ये करना है, वो करना है, ये करना है. My goal was that I want to make money so I can support charity, and my charity is within ride sharing is that we take over drivers' educations, drivers' families and their kids' complete education, guys. I don't want my driver to become a driver, or I don't want my driver's sons or daughters to become a driver. I want them to be a engineer, judge, or entrepreneur and whatnot. So this is our charity, My Rights, paying for their education, paying for their healthcare. Those of us who lives in North America, we understand very well, right? Sometime when you are jobless, going to a doctor, it'll freak you out. Who's gonna pay and how I'm gonna afford the basic necessities. So we want to combat this by becoming socially responsible company, which is 3 things human beings usually strive for. Number 1 is education. Number 2, family well-being, and number 3 is health. And this is, in our opinion, a stepping stone that we did. And that's why we went into ride sharing, because it's a mass that I'm suddenly attracting and fixing.
Right. Assalamu alaikum. It's really humbling to look at learn from you. I mean, honestly, I'm blown with words. So just thank you very much for coming here and sharing.
Thank you, guys. I'm humbled. If there is nothing else, I want to thank you for inviting me and wish you all the best, guys. And anyone who finished AWS, do give us a call. We can help you, maybe come on board with MyRide, or if there are programmers out there, if there are database developers out there, do connect with us, because when we launch our healthcare services in US, we definitely want to take on board our own kind, our own students from here.
So Rizwan, what was that speed dial number you gave us?
Faisal.abbas@gmail.com.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Okay, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Rizwan bhai.
Okay.
Rizwan, just one quick question. People were asking me about your LinkedIn profile. So if I could, share it with them.
You can share it, guys. I have 3, and only one of them is visible. And you have to search for rarizvi@yahoo.com, which is the small one. That's the one I have make it public. Other 2, and don't mind me, other 2 are for researchers, for doctors, and for fellow people, where we don't want any invitations or anything coming. But the one I have available for everyone is rarizvi@yahoo.com.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Rizwan bhai.
Thank you, guys. Wish you all the best.
Thank you much.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so let's just take a 5-minute break, guys, stretch out, and then we'll, so I'm not going to continue on the database, or I'm not going to start the database side now. So let's just start database next week. And so today we'll just, finish. And if you guys have any questions on S3 or any other area which we covered this week, okay? So let's take a 5 minutes break, and 7:43 right now. So in 5 minutes, we'll connect, we'll start again, okay?
Thank you, Faisal, Brother Faisal and Kumail. This was really, really good. Very good.
Credit goes to Rizwan bhai, mashallah, and Faisal bhai.
All right, folks, I'm back. So we're open for any questions, concerns, comments you guys have.
Vasalbhai, I cannot see the filtering under the budget. My billing or budget, I guess.
Is it possible? Can you share the screen? I want to see what issue you are facing.
Sure. Join the meeting form.
Okay, I see your screen. Okay.
Was a cost budget.
Yes, it was a cost budget. All right, so give it a name. Okay. Right, monthly, fine. Yes, recurring this, fixed. Okay, budget amount. Okay, why don't you see? Click somewhere outside. Give me 1 second. Let me log into the console here. Let me see if there is anything. Give me just a second. Maybe they may have introduced a new billing dashboard as well, which I was on, I guess. This is strange. Why don't you guys see that? Okay, so if you scroll down here, right? So, okay, the option is not showing, right? And also the.
I can see under usage budget, definitely. Filtering, but I think it's a different tab, definitely.
Okay, just hold. Go back again. Go to the previous screen.
Cost budget.
Yeah, at the top there was a blue box. I want to read that. All right. So this time the cost percentage is available. Okay. All right. So it is. Yeah. Scroll up here. I think this is the reason. You see the blue box here on top. 1 second. I think because of that, it is. You see the box here. So that's why I was able to see that and you guys were not able to. So it is just telling that, it's going to take up to 4 days, for all this information to be let's check back in maybe, a day or two and we should be able to see that.
Okay, sure. Thanks.
Yeah. So that may be the reason, the couple other guys, they were not able to see it. That's why, I guess. Okay. But that should not stop you from creating the, the cost budget for you guys. Okay. Anyone else has any question?
Faisal.
Yes, sir.
This is Mujahid. I've got a question.
Yes, sir.
Who is responsible for the putting up the videos? on YouTube?
So that is me, sir. Yes.
Well, the reason I'm asking that is I know you are putting it up, but what I want to bring to your attention is I'm watching the videos, but the videos seem to be a little bit blurry compared to what I'm seeing on the screen.
Okay. So, okay, I can tell you.
That has something to do with the way I'm watching it, or?
Okay, I can show you. I know what is happening here. Give me 1 second. Let me pull that video here. Let me share my screen. All right, so where is the share button here? All right, let me know when you're able to see it. Okay.
I can see it's a.
Okay. All right, so this is one of the videos here. So here at the settings cog wheel.
Yeah.
Click. Normally the quality by default it comes as 360p or at times 480p. So bring it to the top one, whatever the top number that you're seeing, and then that blurriness will go away.
So once again, operator problem. No problem. Thank you, sir.
No problem. All right. Anyone else? Any question?
Faisal, that presentation was about 20 years too late.
Which one, sir?
Rizwan Bhai ka presentation. I wish I was 20 years younger.
See, that's what I tell everybody. Age is just a number, so don't worry about it. It's never too late, and I would suggest. And you know what? Rizwan Bhai is one of those several thousand people out here in our community, in your area or in your, whichever the part of the world you are in. So try to, search for, these people. We have, lots and lots of people of similar caliber here in Chicago as well. And that's what Kumail Bhai and I, we are working on to, to come up with, a seminar type, setting where all 4 classes, we combine together and, bring our guys in, with those, prominent figures in the community. So if you know anybody, person or two in your community or in your area, do let us know. We would like to, bring, such people, highlight them and, show people, about their, achievements. Not just only to, encourage you guys, but also, to tell people that, we are not only, working on one specific area, but, there's lots and lots of, areas where, people are engaged in.
I'm going to take this topic offline with you.
Yes, sir. Anytime. You have my contact number or contact details.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, sure. And people in Canada who are, close to Milton or Mississauga area, you guys have, you can have, face-to-face connection with him. He's very, active in the community. In Mississauga, there is a center who, he is very active there. The center name is
Babul
Ilm, exactly. Yes, Babul Ilm. So he's very active there. And you know what? That's one of his achievement, which they are currently working on. They are actually building the first ever masjid in North America. Normally our Imam Bargas and our centers, they actually go under the name of a center, not the actual masjid. So they are the Babul Ilm Center. They are actually rebranding it as Masjid Ali. So they are working on that area as well. And he's very active in in the Julus and Imam Barga activities as well.
Faisal Bhai, I have a quick question.
Yes, sir.
Running instances, there's the EC2, that's what I got, a 14 cents bill. My question is that I remember you told us that we need to turn off, terminate those running instances. Should we terminate all the resources other than running instances? Like a volumes, like a security groups, like a key pairs?
Security groups and key pairs, you will not get charged for it. VPC as well, you're not going to get charged for it. And the EC2 instances, yes, once you're done with the work, go ahead and shut it down. Let me just show you my services here. All right, so sorry about the size here. Okay, so if I go back to my billing dashboard, I'm sure that you are able to see my screen. So here it is. Under that, like drop down on your name, go to the billing dashboard, scroll down here, and here you see these top free tier services. These are per month. Okay, so every month, like the start of every month, these numbers get resetted. So it's not that 750 hours, they are not for the entire year, they are per month. So this is your per month quota. So every month it get the start of the next month, this quota will get resetted. So if you look at my EC2 usage for Linux instance, I have used only 3% of it, and I am already mid of a month already. So out of those 750 hours, I have used only 27 hours at this time for Linux instance. Similar goes for the Windows instance, 25 hours used out of 750 hours. Okay. And then, for the S3 service, 2000 ports are there. So I have used about 48% of my S3 quota for this month for the put, and for the get about 8%. Okay. The difference is difference between put and get is put. If you see the put, copy or post or list. So remember, when I go into my S3 bucket, remember the site which I uploaded. So it has, lots and lots of content in it. And then, so I did it like multiple times because I was creating the video and then, testing and validating it. So that's why you are seeing that I have used like 48% of it, but I am still under the radar of 2000. Okay. And why the get is 8%? Get is like when you connect to, or when I connect to my S3 bucket and try to, access that. So that thing is like, the get function that it gets, those who are in the CommandWise class, so the HTML has, your web server has, two capabilities. One is the put, another one is the get. So get is that I am connecting to the web server and then trying to get that, let's say the index HTML file or, the graphs, out of that. Or not the graph, actually, the graphics, out of that. Okay. So yeah, so keep an eye on this free tier, service usage, and that actually, is going to, give you an idea. So let's say this month I utilized, let's say 100% of it, or maybe 101% of it. So after 100%, whatever my usage is, I'm going to be charged for it. Even I am in the free tier, but within a month, if I go over 750 hours, I'm going to get charged for it. Okay. So these are the, top services which I, utilize here.
So they will send you alerts before they start charging, right?
Okay, Ashok, can you repeat your question, please?
I said they will send you, AWS would send you alerts, or do you have to set up alerts to?
If you have to set up alerts, remember the start of this today's class, we set up that alert. Yes, so you set it up there, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No problem.
So Faisal bhai, can I share my screen? I just want to see. I want to check with you that the charges I am getting, does it make sense? Do you mind if I?
Yeah, sure. Give me 1 second. I just want to show you guys one more thing here under my billing dashboard. Here you see that under the top tier free usage, click on the view all, and it will show you all those services that are under the free tier. And what is my, it's like, it gives you, a detailed tabular form here for you, like month to date, actual usage, forecasted, and, for all those services. Yes, Butrap, go ahead, share your screen. Let me stop sharing. I'll let you share.
Faisal bhai, my message, if you get a chance.
Okay.
Can you see my screen, Faisal bhai?
Yes, I can see that. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm looking at this bill, right? So if I scroll down here, it shows me that 14 cents for the EC2, right? So I'm still thinking that why is giving me those charges?
Okay, so give me 1 second. Let me pull that notation here. Where is that? Okay. So out of those 14 cents, okay, so these are the 14 cents. Okay, and if you see that you were incurred charges 14 cents for this EBS, and out of those EBS, because of the cold storage that you were charged for, did you try, see this 5.4 gig that you used, and 5.4 gig times 2 pennies, that's what you were charged for. So did you try creating a EC2 instance along with the, while you were creating the EC2 instance, did you try to attach or create multiple storage along with that? That could
Yes,
yes,
I did.
yes, that is the reason, and I was charged the similar way, because remember, when for EBS you are charged, you are actually given for the EBS volumes, you were given for the EC2 instance 30 gig disk size. Anything going above that, you will be charged for it. So what happened is, that's the problem with the Windows instances, that their base OS image size is 30 gig. So even if you provision additional 1 gig while you were creating the instance, you will be charged for it. That's why I was charged a little lesser than you, but it was because of that.
All right, thank you.
So one question, Faisal bhai, should we delete, like I created the S3 bucket, should I delete it when I'm done, because it uses a unique name all the time? Is S3 attached to any instance or not? Because it seems like just a pure website hosting solution, like we just creating a website on Amazon Web Services.
Yeah, so to answer your first question, S3, okay, let me just pull it up here. All right, 1 second, let me share my screen, okay? All right, so let me know when you will see my screen, okay?
Yes, I can see.
All right, so I'm gonna paste this in the chat as well. All right, so all right, so this one here, this is your eligibility for your free tier, what you are eligible for, okay? Free tier, 12-month free, and then whatever the trials are. So for the free tier, for the compute, 750 hours per month, okay? S3, 5 gig of standard storage, okay? Along with the 5 gig, you have 20,000 get requests and 2,000 put requests. Okay, so in the free tier for 12 month on the S3 bucket, let's say you create the S3 bucket now, left it running for 12 months, and you did not even put in anything, maybe more than a gig into it, or retrieve a gig in, from it. you're not going to be charged for it. But let's say you created once and you put in like, let's say 6 gig of data onto it. So 5 gig is free, and then anything on top of it, you will be charged for that. So I created my S3 bucket. I'm going to just leave it as is for now, because I'm sure I'll probably be putting a very less amount of data onto it. Otherwise, it will be staying there. But for the EC2 instances, let's say, like I showed you that I am on, where is my, there it is. You see that EC2 here for Linux and for Windows. I am only on 3% of my usage. If the person does not make sense to you, out of those 750 hours, I have used only 27 hours of Linux and 25 hours of Windows. So let's say if I just kept, let's say I created the instance and I kept on running, it probably will not hit 750 hours. But for a guy like you, let's say, you worked on it and then, you forgot about it. So it will keep on running. And then, maybe at a point in time, you might get charged for it. So that's why I always suggest, hey, since you are in the early stages of this, so once you're done playing with it, just, shut it down. And next week, when we're going to do our, the network part and also the auto scaling part, that's where we're going to be churning instances like crazy. Like we're going to be creating auto create like 5 instances at a time or 10 instances at a time, right? So I wanted to have, some room available for you guys so that you do not get, charges incurred on you, because next week we will still be in the July cycle, right? So that's why, to keep some room for, for the upcoming services coming in that will automatically scale up and then scale down. That's what I want to show you guys, the elasticity of the cloud. So that's why, keep some, leeway room for you guys.
So for Faisal bhai, just for confirmation, I'm just asking this question.
Sure.
What I did, I did the labs, I created the Linux and the Windows instances, then I terminated them.
Okay.
Like,
perfect.
So okay, thank you.
Faisal bhai, I have a question too.
Yes.
It's so when we were creating S3 buckets, we allowed all the public access.
Yes.
And I'm just confused between instance and the S3 bucket. So can we install a S3 bucket on an instance, or or install an instance on a S3 bucket? Can we do that, or we don't have such option?
Okay, so here it is. The short answer of your question, yes, we can attach S3 to your instance, be it Windows or Linux. Okay, detailed answer, do not. Okay. So instance is your operating system, either Linux or Windows, right? Okay. And then for instances, the storage that is preferred for its instances is EBS, not the S3. Okay. So we create the EBS volumes and then we attach those EBS volumes to your instances like Linux or Windows. Suggested method, best practice is to attach the EBS volumes to your instances, not S3. But let's say you have something that requires S3 to be attached to it. Yes, you can. But normally I have not seen people, attaching that. I did in my, previous class, I did the, the validation that, how do we connect to it? There's quite a lot of, elbow grease that require to get S3 attached to your instance. But short and sweet answer is EBS is the volume that needs to be connected to your instances.
To the instance, okay. So suppose if I wanted to connect an S3 to the instance, okay, say I allowed my S3 to be publicly accessible, but at the same time I have my security group that I created, when I was launching an instance, and in that security group I have created the inbound and outbound rules. If I have those rules in place and still my S3 is like publicly accessible, would people be able to access it, or would it deny it?
Yeah, I can show you that. Okay, let me just quickly do that here for you. Come on, mouse, help me out. Okay, let's say this is my S3 bucket. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, and this is my Linux instance, for example. Okay, and this is the internet. We have the security group, right?
Yep.
That allows this internet to access your Linux. Okay. There is no security group around your
S3.
S3. Okay. So let's say if I made it public, that means that internet can come and access the S3, right?
Yep.
Now, to come to your question, let's say you attach your S3 with your Linux, for example. Okay, and you revoke the public access. If I read your question correctly, so will people be able to access from the internet through your Linux, the S3? Is that your question?
Yep.
Yes, they will be able to. Okay, but they will be able to access not directly, but through your Linux instance.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna just quickly go through the chat here. All right, so
Faisal, back to your diagram here. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Yeah, go ahead.
So coming back to your diagram here, how is S3 mounted on the Linux? Is it a drive letter, or?
Yes, it will be assigned to a volume, like turn into a volume, and then assigned to, let's say, with the slash data or slash S3, whatever you name it. Yes.
All right. So you can have some kind of a security around that, right? You can say, okay, this folder cannot be accessed. So it's all driven by the kind of security that you have on your Linux box.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So that security will, your instance security is going to take over, since, the S3 is connecting to the instance. So whatever the instance has the security, that will, take over, your S3.
Okay. Yeah. And that's probably why you don't want S3 attached to your operating system.
Yeah, exactly. It's very rare. I have seen with the clients or customers that are connecting S3 to the Linux or Windows, but yeah, it is possible. You can do that. It was possible up until last year. I have not tested it this year, but I'm sure it will be, unless they made some crazy changes and not allowing that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so there was a question by Kazim Bhai about, can we use S3 to host a web app which does not have index HTML? Yes, sir, you can do that. Not suggested one, because if you have the app.js or any dynamic website, S3 bucket is only used for the static websites, not the dynamic ones. All right, so another question was Abu Thrab. I think I answered his question about the key pairs and the security group, and right, so you will not be charged for those. Okay, and there was a question, deleting all those volumes. Yes, I would suggest to delete those volumes, because yes, and go ahead.
Yeah, I was just thinking, if you killed or terminated the instance and you have attached volumes, it should kill it by itself, right? You told us in the class that if you attach a volume to a particular instance and you delete the instance, like terminate the instance, it should go away, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So do an exercise, like log into the console, okay, create an instance. And then once you create the instance, remember yesterday I showed you guys, if you have a running instance, you go into the volumes, you will see one volume that is attached to your instance. So once you terminate that instance, Once you terminate the instance and then, once refresh and see that it is showing in the terminated state, then come down here and then go into the volumes, and you should not see the volume here under the, under the volume tab. Okay. But that is the volume which is attached to your OS. So that should have gone.
Right. Thank you. That would be either Linux or either the Windows OS.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. Yes.
So what happens, Professor, what happens if you have an S3 attached and you're trying to delete that instance? Will it warn you that you've got an S3 attached, or delete that instance?
Yeah. So in that case, let me just do this here. Let's say you have an instance here, Linux instance, and then you have a bucket here, S3. All right. So that is attached to your Linux. So when you kill the instance or terminate the instance, it will terminate this piece only, and it will terminate the connection here. This S3 will still be intact because this is under the EC2 part of the console, and this is under the storage part of the console. So S3 will remain there. EC2 will be terminated.
Will it warn you though that you've got a orphaned S3 now?
It will not warn you about the orphan. It will warn you about, let's say you have, certain volumes attached here. It will warn you about those volumes.
Okay.
There are volumes attached to it. Okay. Any other question?
So Faisal, I just created a S3 bucket, and I'm trying to delete it, but I cannot delete it somehow.
All right, so I can show you that. It asks you for, there are two things it looks for. Okay, one is, come on, where is that? I'm gonna go into the services, storage, and S3. If the bucket has only one file in it, it will not delete. Okay. See that, I am going into my bucket. You see that I should have a folder and a file there. See, I have a folder. That folder has multiple files, and there's one more file here. So if I go to my bucket here, try to read the error message. Okay. I'm going to highlight this here. If I click delete, look at the error message. The bucket is not empty. So we have to empty out the bucket first, then delete the bucket. Okay. So remove all the content first and then delete the bucket. Okay. And let's say I remove all the content, and then, so it will ask me for a confirmation, and read through this message here. Okay. The confirmation is, it is looking for the bucket name. Let's say the bucket is empty right now. So it's going to look for a confirmation that I have to type in the bucket name. This is an insurance policy that, I have not accidentally, click on the delete button, and then, so it asks me, hey, type in that, the bucket name. Once I type in the bucket name in here, then this delete bucket button will be enabled. Otherwise it will not.
Yes, it worked. Another thing that I noted was I left my console running on the web. It never timed out. Why is that?
I don't have an answer for that. So what happens is, you left it open, it will stay open. And I have seen this, that even I reboot my machine a couple of times and I go into the console, majority of the time, I don't, it just, takes me there. It does not time out. Yeah. So I'll have to find that, what is their timeout value? Why does it, why is it that persistent even after reboot? It stays there. So good question. I'll find that answer for you. What is the Amazon's take on that?
Yeah, that was like very surprising for me. Like, why the hell console is there?
Exactly. Yeah, that's right. Okay, for our office hours, so we're gonna have office hours tomorrow, and that will be 7 to 8 p.m. Chicago time. And I'm gonna be sending you guys a meeting invite that will be Google Meet. So keep an eye out on your email, please. Okay. Right, perfect. And so inshallah, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow's office hour is not mandatory. If you have any questions, concern, anything bugging you, not able to get past through the through those error messages, or having any issues, whatever we cover this week, please feel free to come and join in. All right. So I'm gonna close the session today, and I'll let you guys. All right, I'll let you guys go.